using a wheel today, an interactive wheel to spin, and that's how we select our topics.
Oh.
Before
Wheel
we
of Fortune.
just something to make it more interactive and engaging. So I Have a Dream is inspired by February's Black History Month. And, this is, we are in February. One of the most famous Black individuals whose words still echo in our ears, in our hearts, and hopefully in things that we do, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that's the topic today is I Have a Dream. So I have between 1 and 12 questions, and I'd like to go ahead and share my screen. And the way it works is if somebody volunteers, I click the wheel, it spins, and it chooses the number for you.
Oh.
See,
So who'd like to go first?
I can go. This is Nishal.
Oh, here we go.
Sure.
Give me the big prize. Come on. All right.
That's cute.
And it removes it afterwards, after it's been used. So
That's good.
So number 2, Nischelle, have you ever had a moment in your life where you chose peace over anger or frustration?
It's 5 o'clock.
I'm going to repeat, I'm sorry for the time. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you chose peace over anger or frustration?
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I've been asked the question of whether I've had a moment in life where I've chosen peace over anger and frustration. And the answer to that is yes. And I think it's quite true for a lot of us, but let me explain about my particular situation. And when I was thinking of an event to choose to go with my opinion, I was thinking of something that just happened last year when, the pandemic hit and we were all forced to lock ourselves in, and we had the whole lockdown going. Coincidentally, it was also the time when my brother's wedding was scheduled. And so I have one sibling, and I obviously did not want to miss his wedding, but due to the pandemic, I was unable to travel. And I had two ways to deal with it. Either, just accept it for what it is and make my peace with the situation, or just keep ranting endlessly for eternity, which wouldn't help the situation and wouldn't help me feel better as well. And I chose to make my peace with that situation, as disheartened as I was. But when I did reconcile with that situation, the first thing that I started to think about is, hey, well, this has happened. There is nothing I can do about it, but how can I make myself feel better about it? And that's when I decided we could have sort of like a virtual party. And turns out a lot of my cousins were also unable to attend the wedding. And it was great. So all of us sort of dressed up and showed up at a Zoom meeting much like this, and got together, had a bunch of banter, and caught up with the entire family and chit-chatted for like hours on end. And before we knew it, we were just having the same wedding experience, except in a virtual sense. But we couldn't replicate all of the ceremonies and things like that. But at least we could make the best of the situation. And that would be a situation of when I decided to go with peace rather than anger or frustration. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Great job and great answer, Nischelle. Think of something off the top of your head. As I'd like to go next.
I'll go.
And if you're not able to see the everyone else, you can change your view so that you can see both screens, just so that we all stay connected while everyone is talking, or not everyone, but the speaker is going. All right, Glennis. And I'd like to remind everybody, our word is esoteric for the number 7. Number 7 is, what life lessons have you learned from someone famous? Again, what life lessons have you learned from someone famous?
I've been asked the question, what life lessons I've learned from someone famous? As I think about this, I have to think about, okay, what defines famous? Famous to whom? Famous to the world? Famous to my community? Famous to my family? It would depend. I'm having a hard time thinking of someone that would be famous to the world. I'm not a people follower, I guess is kind of what I want to say. A lot of popular culture, I'm not in tune with. Like, it took me a while to know who the Kardashians were, just because I'm not into reality TV. So when I think about famous people, I think about all of the things they do, and a lot of what is shown on the news or in different media is generally the bad side of an individual, which does not give me anything to be inspired about or to actually learn a lesson. I'm going to treat the answer to this question this way. There are a lot of lessons I've learned from people in the media and in the news because of the mistakes that they have made. Because I believe you don't actually have to make mistakes to learn from them. You can learn from the mistakes of others and what they go through. There's nothing specific that comes to mind at the moment, other than the only thing I can think about was the woman who cheated to get her daughter into into a college, which, yeah, that's a life lesson. Probably something I would never do anyway, but it's the only thing that stands out to me right now. Madam Table Topics Master. And you potentially have spam to your iPhone.
That was very creative, Glennis. I get phone calls. All my devices are connected, so phone calls go through there. But that was very creative the way you answered this. And yeah, maybe there isn't anyone famous that you learned from, but I think we all learn from famous people what not to do. And I feel like it's more important to us because they've went through the experience. Let's learn from them instead of us going through it all over again. Thank you, Glennis. Would like to go next. Sharon, Shehu?
I can go.
All right, Shehu. All right, our word of the day is esoteric. Let's work on using it.
We are all winners, right?
Yes, you win $1 million.
I thought the one was for $1 billion.
All right, your question is, has your personality changed over the years because of a struggle you've lived through? Let me repeat. Has your personality changed over the years because of a struggle you've lived through?
Madam Table Topic Master, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmaster. The question is, as my personalities change because of the trouble over the years, because of the struggle of things I've gone through. That is interesting question. Um, Looking at growing up and how I view things and look at how life is has changed and is still changing when it comes to you meeting people and ideas and things that you've not learned before is interesting. Growing up, looking at the world from where I grew up, and now that I came to the United States years back, going through a lot of things that that I don't think that I would have gone through if I stayed back home. That kind of changed a lot in me, and I would put it like humbled me because you learn some things that's gonna bring you humility, and I really thank God for that because that's helped me and it's still helping me today to become who I am becoming, because I'm still growing, because it's very, very important that we learn from situations. So yes, I think there are a lot of things that I've gone through that have made me change my perspective of life, modern table topic master. Oh, I didn't use the word of the day. That's the perfect time to use it, but maybe next time.
No one was timing you either, Shehu. You're the
Oh,
Yeah, I was timing myself also.
Oh, good.
What did you get?
Oh, I didn't time you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
All right, Sharon.
Okay. Are you still hearing the music?
no.
Okay, good.
A little bit.
Yeah, I can hear it, but it's
Oh.
faint.
Yeah, it's not as
A little bit quieter too. Sorry.
All right, Sharon, your question is, what is one difficulty you've experienced in your life that you struggled through but learned so much from? Let me repeat. What is one difficulty you've experienced in your life that you've struggled through but learned so much from?
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters. I have been asked the question, what was there something difficult in my life that I learned a lot from? If I can go back to my work experience, it always seemed like I chose the data processing career path because it was supposed to be the wave of the future. And this is back in the mid 70s. But always it seemed like once I started my career, the applications I was working on were always going to be phased out, replaced with some new technology. I was a COBOL programmer, but the new wave was going to be Java and so on. And just different types of project methodologies. And the last one being, what was it, Agile. Agile, the way it worked seemed to be only for the esoteric few who could understand how Agile was supposed to work. My application was a legacy COBOL application that had been around for 20 years. And now we were supposed to go to this new agile project methodology. So instead of going with, let's plan everything out for the next 2 years, get all the requirements together, now we had to get things done in 2-week increments. And everybody thought that this project team that was working on this ancient legacy system just wouldn't be able to manage it. Well, we proved them wrong. I was the business analyst and I worked with the project manager, and we were always on time, and we were an example for the rest of the Java teams. It was amazing. And what I learned from it was a difficult experience because nobody really expected us to be okay, but we did, and we proved them wrong. And so what I learned from that is if you put your mind to something and take advantage of the experts, the ones who know things esoterically about what you need to learn, you can teach an old dog new tricks. You can advance, you can change. Just by putting your mind to it and really working together and being open. And I think that's what I learned most, was to be open and put your mind to it and work together as a team. It was difficult, but we did it. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
I loved how you weaved your personality and what you've done into this one program and made it your topic. Very, very creative. And you got it the word twice. Awesome.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for reminding us.
Yes, of course.
It helps a lot.
Next.
Well, do we have time for one more?
It's 5:15, so maybe we have room for one more, because Glynis's evaluation will take 3 to 5 minutes, right?
Okay,
So,
well, then I'll do one.
okay.
All right.
One of my favorite numbers. But...
All right. Your question is, if you had the power to undo something you've done, what would that be and why?
Wow.
If you had the power to undo something, what would that be and why?
Madam Table Topics Master, Madam Toastmaster, and fellow Toastmasters. If I had the ability to undo something that I had done, what would it be and why? Well, something comes to mind pretty easily for that. And that is, I wish I had never smoked marijuana. Now, there's some good thing that came out of it. But one is that's brought me to the bottom of that. Brought me to the bottom, and because I was at the bottom, that's how I got saved. That's how I became a Christian. I was brought up Orthodox Jewish, and if I hadn't crashed like that, I would still be Orthodox Jewish. But why do I say I wanted? But let's just say if I, could still find the Lord without getting damaged, I would certainly rather not do that. Now, why would I say not to smoke marijuana? Because it damages your brain, and it damages your, particularly the emotional part of your brain. I think it makes it. I already was kind of dumb in the emotional part of my brain, and that made me dumber. But that was let's see, that was 19. I stopped in 1975, so it's been a long time, and I don't know how much I'm certain when I was there smoking marijuana. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't get myself to do anything. I wanted to sleep all day. And now, I'm not like that, but I do think it damaged my mind, and I would be more. I would have more drive if I hadn't done that. Well, that's one thing it does, is it takes away a person's drive. So that is the one thing I would, if I could go back and change, but not change other things in my life. But if I could change that and still have become a Christian, that's what I would change. Madam Tabletop.
Steve, thank you for sharing that very personal information about yourself and answering the question very creatively. And I think that the time you started smoking is back when marijuana was sort of an esoteric practice, and it wasn't as popular.
It wasn't. Before that, it was esoteric, but at that time, it had become very popular.
Well, it's even more popular today.
So. Oh, yes, that's correct. Compared to today, it was esoteric.
And
I just got back from Colorado, so.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
It damaged your emotional, made you emotionally dumb. Describe what is that? Less emotional or?
Less feeling in the emotion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people will tell you that it make you
bored.
Oh, say that again, Glenn.
I said we should have a lot of calm people then.
Well, yeah, it makes you calm. It does make you
but
calm.
I think it's calm for the wrong reason.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's right. Right.
Some people tell you it make you bored though, like make you bored.
Well,
yeah.
Alcohol, I think.
It does. It takes away an inhibition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You have a feeling in your heart that will, in your conscience, which stops you from doing things.
Okay.
And that dumbs that down, and you don't.
Okay,
you don't get that feeling.
Like numbs it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nagam, for all those very, very thoughtful topics. And I really enjoyed the spinner. It really just added some fun to the whole thing. So I would like to now introduce our evaluator for Steve, and that would be Glynis. Thank you, Glynis.
Hello, credible communicators, and especially Steve. Steve, I appreciate you bringing all of your experience into your speeches. It is something to look forward to. And with this speech in particular, I love the way you brought in the techniques of how to conclude your speech. You had examples for each of the techniques. And that was more lively for me, at least. It's more memorable. It helps me to keep my attention on you as a speaker, because I felt the benefit. I got the benefit out of the technique, and I could see how to use it or how to apply it. And that's a lot of times I think we lose that when we give speeches, especially a speech that's meant to inform, which this one was, is meant to teach or inform. I think we lose it if we don't have the practical value, and you provided that practical value for us. The only other thing I was going to say, I was able to walk away with those tips and hopefully be able to use them in my future speeches. I feel confident that I should be able to do that. You use the word of the day at least once in your speech. I do remember, I think it was only once. And it's kind of hard with your sitting to determine like the gestures that you're using, although you use a lot of different facial gestures. Like I'm looking at you now and you have that look like you're listening intently, but they were natural. At first I was thinking, okay, is that a distraction or is it natural? But it's the natural way you speak and the way your facial expression changes when you talk about different things. I also like the way you were able to pull in the comments regarding Nagam's speech. So things just flowed naturally within your speech. There were a couple things that I think maybe to give attention to. I think your monitor where you look at us is not the monitor with the camera on it. So you were looking at us, however, it didn't look like you were looking at us. I just knew that that was the case because whenever you would read something, you'd look at the monitor where the camera was.
I was wondering how
So-
you knew that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
might want to maybe switch that around or just
Yeah,
give attention to that so you know going forward, maybe even try to split the screen if you got notes so you can continue to look at the camera and we have that eye contact because it was deceiving. You thought you were giving us eye contact, but you really weren't. So just think about that. The other thing, when you concluded, since this is a speech on conclusions, the Toastmaster conclusion was the quote, and that was part of the presentation. And you said, this is how Toastmasters ended this presentation. However, it's your presentation. You made the entire speech yours, but you did make the conclusion yours. So just give thought to that. In conclusion, I appreciate the way you bring your Toastmaster experience into your speeches, and possibly in the future, you'll be able to bring them into your pathway speeches. Madam Toastmaster.
I agree with you, Glynis. As he was giving those examples, I thought, my goodness, he's given a lot of speeches, hasn't he? And just a lot of different types of it. Yeah, very interesting. So I would like now to go to Shehu, if you could give us your timer report, please.
Sure. So Steve, for your